Mark, so I'd imagine a pretty happy camp at the moment after the last week.
Yeah, it's been great. We've had games coming thick and fast. Two great results again. Previous results after going a goal down in both games. So not only showed character, we showed a bit of gumption as well to get back into the game.
And it just puts a different perspective on the draws before it, doesn't it? You lose a couple and all of a sudden it's a bad run. You win a couple and it's a really good one.
I mean, we've been close to winning games recently. You know, we've had to peg ourselves back from goals down, I think, in the last 6 games. But before the last 2 games, we've only managed to get the draws with those. So the last 2 games, we've pegged ourselves back and got wins. So yeah, it's good. It's I think what we deserved. I think we deserved more points than we've got now in the previous games before the last 2. So I think the last 2 are results were justified in terms of performance. I think we deserved a point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned those 6 matches where you've gone behind. It's difficult to put your finger on it. I'm not sure what can you do differently to try and stop that happening again tomorrow.
Well, we always talk about it, but you can't guarantee that you're not going to go behind, and it's the same when if we were to go ahead, we still got to do the right things. And the key for me is that I still believed in the game plan that we were trying to do, and didn't go off doing their own things. So I think that's the key for me, is still doing the right things, and that's what's happened. As it happens at the moment, we haven't managed to goal up recently. So but that might change. That will change at some point in the season. We might go down at Sheffield United. It's just as long as we've got the character and as long as we stick to the game plan, and as long as we do the right things, then we've got a good chance to get back into the game.
Yeah, and I guess as you say, and the players have shown it, if you don't get too worried about that, you don't let it knock you off what you're doing. Actually, psychologically, there's a big benefit from that, knowing that they can stick to whatever task you're setting them.
Exactly. So just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Squad-wise, any knocks picked up from the weekend?
No, everyone's fit. Obviously, we've got the added addition of Jake coming in today from Chelsea. So we'll see how he is. He's played a few games recently, so it's not as if he's just coming straight into the team or into the squad and not played games. He's been injured, and I think he's played 90 minutes for Chelsea. So he's coming in off the back of a few games as well. So he's ready to go straight away, and not a case of wait for 2 or 3 weeks to get him fit because he's been injured. He's coming into us with game time under his belt.
And from what I've heard from the Chelsea end of things, he's one that they think very highly of.
I mean, of course, himself and Charlie, not only are they, what I've seen so far, they're proper people as well. They want to train hard. There's almost couldn't be a stigma around players that come from bigger clubs that, how they're going to be around the lads that we already got. But I'll tell you now that these guys have fitted in just like that. The lads like them, which is really important. As people know, it's important that they fit in well with the group, and they have done, as far as I'm concerned. They're good. They're team players, what I've seen, and they got proper personalities, which is great.
And that dressing room unity, which you've had now for a good couple of years, I think it's so important this year because you've had to have a slightly bigger squad because of the loan rules, so people aren't necessarily going to get the game time perhaps they have done in previous seasons. So if you've got a group that's not getting on so well, that could cause problems.
And that's the key for me. It's a different way of managing this year in terms of, like I said, we have to have a bigger squad. We have to manage a bit differently. We have to manage more players that are going to be disappointed. But it's so important that those players that were probably in the squad last year and in amongst the team last year act in the right manner. It's important that the loan players that we have act in the right manner, and at the moment that's what we've got. So we have to keep that because at some stage in this season everyone's going to make a positive impact, and that's happened in recent games, with the likes of Byron Moore on Saturday getting a penalty. Jermaine Easter, who's not played loads of minutes but played in Swindon and got 2 assists. Charlie Colkett, for instance, coming off the bench at Bradford and getting a goal for us. So it's so important that those players that aren't playing not only make an impact within the dressing room in terms of how they behave themselves, but also on the pitch. And I think they've done that in recent games. So it is about the squad. but ultimately it's about the squad playing well when they come on the pitch and behaving in the right manner around the lads that have been here, because I know that these lads, if they didn't believe that the lads that have come into the club will add value, that will get back to us, and I know for a fact that they have behaved with good value, and they're adding value to the club as loan players, so it's showing that on the pitch as well.
Absolutely. So Sheffield United now, and on the face, it's probably the biggest team in the division. Is that seen as a special place to go and play at Bramall Lane?
Yes, I mean, I've watched the last couple of games, and the atmosphere is electric. That's what you could say. The fans seem to really be behind their players at the moment, and what the manager's doing. The atmosphere won't be too different to Bradford, if I'm honest with you. Bradford was, the fans were similar there. The Yorkshire clubs can be quite passionate fans, especially when your teams are doing well and their teams are working hard for each other. And that's what I see Sheffield United. They are working hard for each other. So it'd be a tough atmosphere. It'd be a tough game. But these boys are getting tougher and tougher with each game themselves. So we'll be tough to beat as well.
Yeah, and Sheffield United, I think, perennially expected to get promoted out of this division, and that expectation can weigh heavy on teams sometimes, can't it?
It can do, and a lot of that expectation comes from their own fans, if I'm honest with you. But like I said, at the moment, the fans seem to be on their side, so we're going to have to keep them quiet.